Hey everyone, I'm Jack Fossett, and this is the Glarry GST upgrade electric guitar with Wilkinson pickups. We're going to play some clean on this, talk about the guitar a little bit, and then play some overdriven, talk about what is Glarry, what you're getting, and then this particular model in general. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy. So, Glarry Musical Instruments, if you haven't been familiar with them, they've been around for a while, and what they are is kind of absolute bottom end prices to get starter instruments or things that could possibly be tweaked and stuff. So, you need to look at everything with Glarry within the context of the price. Now, I actually did a review with Glarry pretty early on of an acoustic guitar that they did, which was only $50, and they sent it to me, and it was, it was pretty rough around the edges when it comes to finish, but I actually found it a pleasant instrument. It, for a $50 guitar, it was playable. It actually tuned up better than I expected. Its tone was a little better than I expected. And I am a fan of companies being able to get you a guitar at a reasonable price. I like the idea of guitars being very accessible to people who either can't afford more, even just people who can afford more, but, just want to shell out a little bit extra to have an extra acoustic guitar kicking around that you can pick up and play. So now we're getting to this one, and this is their upgraded electric guitar. And again, this is in the Sunset Burst finish and everything. When you talk about a lot of the Glarry products, what you're looking at is they're not the most finished, they're not the most well put together instruments, but again, they're rock bottom prices, and there's something that you can get and you can use, especially for a beginner, something that you can get and kind of learn on. So first of all, the body is actually finished quite well. Now it's black on the back, and it's got the kind of they call it the Sunset Burst on the top and everything. I didn't really notice any flaws in the finish. It looks better than I expected that it would. It's, it has kind of a nice taper in the burst and everything. I don't see any weird splatter marks or anything. The finish feels pretty even and pretty smooth. The neck is kind of a rough hewn. It has more like a satin back, and it's not hugely sanded. One of the nice things is that the fret edges are actually pretty well done. The fret edges aren't really sharp or anything, which is, that's something that you tend to see. Now, the tuners and the bridge and the hardware are not good. They're pretty rough, and one of the unique things about this guitar, and I imagine this was just an error, but I feel like I need to mention it, is it was shipped to me with acoustic guitar strings on it as opposed to electric guitar strings. Acoustic guitar strings, if you're a beginner and you're looking at this, acoustic guitar strings are heavier, and one of the big differences is that the G string here is going to be wound as opposed to unwound like on an electric guitar, so it's less slinky. It's harder to bend and things, and it just resonates a little bit differently. If you are a beginner, the obvious way to tell the difference between acoustic guitar strings and electric guitar strings is acoustic guitar strings are going to be a gold or bronze color, and electric guitar strings are going to be a silver color. There are some exceptions to this, but that's pretty much the way that it breaks down. So as you can see, because of that, it's pulling up on the bridge quite a bit, which means that, this guitar really badly needs a setup. Now, that being said, the neck is holding its own a little bit better than I expected. It still sounds fine with the acoustic strings. That is what you're listening to on the video, and I debated whether or not I should reset it up with electric strings, because I know that other people who have received them have gotten them with electric strings. Thing is that I did want to present this to you the way that I got it. I wanted to present this to you as, how is it shipped to me? What is it that you're getting right when you get this guitar? And again, especially for beginners, if you don't know the difference between electric guitar strings or acoustic guitar strings, here's the tricky thing about this one. My issue about it for this guitar is, if you're talking about an upgrade, I think the two kind of demographics of people who are going to be interested in this type of guitar are beginners, people just starting out who want a guitar for, fair price, or people who are going to mod them. Out of those two groups of people, and I could certainly be wrong, there could be other people who are looking at this also. If you need, if you need a Strat style guitar for, cheap, just to have one around to, to possibly use, I suppose that's a possibility as well. And for that, it would, it would sound fine. It needs a good setup and things, but it would be usable. Generally, though, my issue is that if Glarry was going to spend money on upgrading this guitar, the pickups are not what I would be upgrading. I'd be upgrading the hardware and probably putting together a little bit of a nicer neck. The reason is because if you're a beginner, the quality of the pickups doesn't really matter that much. And if you're somebody who's modding it, Wilkinsons are fine, but they're not exactly what I'd call, a tweaker's delight by any sense of the imagination. They're kind of a middle of the road, upgraded from something that's quite a bit cheaper, but not one that I've seen an awful lot of people who do mods seek out as far as upgrades. And because of the price, now you're talking about it's up into the price of a Harley Benton, which I find to be vastly superior guitars. They're built much better, the tone is better, the playability is better, they're put together better in general, as well as other guitars like SX, or you're even getting into like some Squier territory and things. And Glarry are fine for what they do. What they do is, really cheap, accessible instruments for people that are, something that you can play on, something that you can cut your teeth on, give it a try, and then at some point move up to something else, but be accessible to a lot more people to get you into music. I just don't find this guitar competitive for what its price is. I think this same guitar that you would get from Glarry without the upgrade, that's the less expensive one, I think in the range of what it is, it would be fine, but I'm not entirely sure that I agree with the upgrade of the pickups and then the hike in the price. It doesn't really make sense to me for what this guitar is. That being said, it's not unusable. It's certainly, again, it's playable, it sounds fine. It doesn't tune up particularly well. It might be a little bit better if it had some regular strings on it, but these are fairly light acoustic strings. That shouldn't make that much of a difference. So we are going to play it overdriven as well, and just kind of show you a little bit about what this guitar can do. I'm going to switch through all the pickup settings and everything. If you are interested in this guitar, I'm going to put a link in the description as to where you can get this, and check out some other Glarry instruments as well. Again, I do appreciate the fact that they're putting out guitars and other musical instruments that are very, very accessible to a lot of people. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't think this one is particularly competitive for the price that it's at. Considering the amount of work that it needs done compared to other guitars that you can get for the same price that are much more playable with better tone for what you're getting right off the bat. So anyway, to put it through all the rest of its paces, stick around. We're going to play some overdriven. Let us know if you have a Glarry, if you're a beginner and you're looking at it, or if you are somebody who mods it, or if you're somebody else. That's who I think would be the majority of people who are getting these instruments. But if you're somebody who's different, please feel free to chime in, because we certainly want to know who else is looking at these instruments, what other kind of players are out there who are looking at these. So let us know in the comments. Stick around for some more tones. I'm Jack Fossett. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.